Folks, welcome back. I have your latest home prices and insights for the City of Toronto for week ending June 22nd, 2022. You know, I reserved this spot of the video to talk about beyond the numbers. In a minute, I'll get into all the real estate numbers, but at this time, it's my experiences as a realtor dealing with buyers and sellers and kind of give you more of a feel of what's going on in the market. And right now, there's lots of drama going on. Drama in a sense that people bought a few months ago and they're supposed to close now, and because of the market shift and prices being softer, they're not getting the mortgage they thought they were going to get, and they're going to have a problem closing, or they have a hard time selling their home they need to sell in order to close on the purchase they made previously, and it's just not working out the way they thought. It's very stressful, very real, and it's widespread. It's not one or two situations. So I've been getting a lot of phone calls on people looking for my advice on that, to help them sell a property that couldn't sell for different reasons. So when we talk about their situation, I always ask, so what does your lawyer, what does your mortgage broker say about, what you should do and what your options are? And they're not speaking good about those people. It's interesting to, my mind's all over the place when I think about this. I'm thinking, how can somebody use a real estate lawyer or a mortgage broker they don't feel good about, and they're calling me? Well, the common theme is that the realtor they're using put pressure on them to use that specific mortgage broker or to use that specific real estate lawyer, and it's absolutely nuts. There's nothing wrong with a realtor referring somebody because they do a good job. We refer real estate lawyers, mortgage brokers all the time. I know we need a real estate lawyer to close the transaction, so I will ask somebody, do you have a real estate lawyer that you have a relationship with? If they say no, we'll go, well, I could recommend one or two. Do you have a mortgage broker? No? Okay, well, we need to get a pre-approval in place. Here's somebody you can call. But there's never any pressure. And that's where the problem is. Those realtors that are putting pressure, look, let's go the other way. My mind's all over the place on this. There's a ton of great realtors that have experiences we do working with really good mortgage brokers and lawyers that we're comfortable referring. We're referring not because we're getting a kickback. We don't get involved in any of that. It's because they do such a great job that my clients call me back and say, thank you for that mortgage broker. Thank you for that lawyer. They did such a great job. And for us, that's everything. The fact that our client is so satisfied with the service, that's, in a sense, it's, we're protecting our reputation this way. But there's other agents that don't work that way. And if you are pressured in using a certain person, you got to ask yourself why. There's nothing illegal about an agent getting a percentage of something. So because we get mortgage brokers all the time that'll say, hey, send us your clients and you'll get, so much money commission back. It's not illegal as long as it's disclosed. We don't do that, but I know there are realtors that do that. Well, there's others that are not even disclosing what's going on. So you really got to be careful. If you're feeling pressured to use somebody, that's just wrong. And you yourself should not put yourself or be in that situation. Get your own independent lawyer, your own independent mortgage person that's loyal to you, not to the realtor. That's my message for today. Get your own representation. You should not feel pressure. Let's get into the numbers. One more quick point on what I was just talking about earlier as far as realtors putting pressure on clients. Some of you are going to take that message and just use it as another reason to rain down on realtors like the whole industry is terrible and corrupt and bad. And that's just not true. There's some awesome realtors out there. Some of us do a phenomenal job. Others, not so much. The point is, until you work with a good realtor, you're just not going to understand the value a good realtor can bring to a transaction, how smooth it can be, the peace of mind you could have. Work with a real good realtor. Who you hire matters. If you think I could help, or you want to talk to me about your real estate situation, selling, buying, it's really simple. Below this video in the description is a link to my calendar. Click on that, book a time that's convenient for you. This way I'll know ahead of time. I'll make sure I'm organized to talk about, I'll be free to talk about whatever's on your mind. Let's get into the numbers. There's a lot of drama going on in Toronto real estate. Here's the city of Toronto, detached properties only, broken down for a whole year, but broken down by week. Sales came down slightly from the previous week. 173 detached properties were sold in the city of Toronto last week. 39 of those were at $2 million or more, which is also down slightly from the previous week. Average sold price is up slightly. It's now sitting at $1,704,000. If we kind of take a look back, it's $1,704,000 is a bit higher than where we were last year at this time of 1,650,000, way down from the peak of over 2 million. Compared to last year, 1,704,000 is 5% higher than last year's average sold price. And what we're seeing more often than not now is the average sold price compared to last year. There was a lot that were 20%, 30%, 18% higher than last year. Now, more often than not, over several weeks, we're seeing it's 4, 5%, sometimes a little less than last year. We're really approaching where we were last year. That's how much average sold price has come down. Median price is also coming down quite a bit. This is median price over the span of 3 months. Median price right now is $1,329,000 for detached properties. This is just detached properties. And the $1,329,000 is 1% higher than where median price was a year ago. When we look back over the span of 3 months, median price from 1.6 is now sitting at 1,329. If we look at year-to-date sales, January 1st to June 22nd, sales for detached properties in the city of Toronto are 26% fewer sales this year than what we were selling last year, year-to-date. And of the 173 that sold, 38% sold at list price or more. So a little bit over a third sold at list price or more. This time last year, 65% were selling at list price or more. Just a few months ago, 85% were selling at list price or more. Market has changed. Just over a third now selling at list price or more. And a bunch of those are panic selling. It's not so much that the seller got so much more money, it's that they brought their price down low enough because they needed a quick sale to generate that sale. But it's 38%. Year-to-date listings, we have 10% fewer listings this year, year-to-date, than what we were listing last year at this time, year-to-date. 417 detached listings last week. Active listings went up a little bit to 1,460,000. Now, active listings to me is a very important number, but not so much on its own. You could look at this and say, wow, it's up a little bit from last year, from last week, and active listings has been going up. Some of you have asked, can we compare active listings to last year? And it kind of doesn't make sense for me to do that, because on its own, active listings tells me how many properties are actually available for sale at the end of the period. But you got to take that in conjunction with how many are we actually selling. Active listings looks like it's going up, but if we were also selling 1,400 or so detached properties a week, Well then, what does 1,460 active listings mean? We'd be sold out everything in a week. So it's in conjunction with the amount of sales where active listings really makes a difference. And when we look at the sales that we've sold and the active listings that we have, months of inventory right now is sitting at 1.9. It stayed the same from where it was last week. Over the previous few weeks, it did go up to 2.2 and 2.1, but it's kind of steady right now for 2 weeks anyways at 1.9 months of inventory. Let's look at Toronto broken down a little bit. Now there's so many micro markets in the city of Toronto. As a whole, we've said average sold price went up from 1 week to the next. But if we break it down just a little bit further between East, West, and Central Toronto, well, East Toronto average sold price went up slightly. It's very similar to the previous week. West Toronto average sold prices come down quite a bit, about 150,000. But the East Toronto shot way up, about 300,000 more in average sold price. And the difference between East and West Toronto, as far as average sold price go, and Central Toronto, you're looking at a $1.4, $1.3 million difference in average sold price. Let's look at these areas a bit closer. So here's West Toronto. Average sold price has been coming down quite a bit over the last 3 weeks. It's now sitting at 1,425,000. Months of inventory is sitting at 1.7. It's been pretty steady like that at 1.7. And the amount of property selling at list price or more in West Toronto is 33%. So, pretty much a third of them are selling at list price or more. Average sold price in West Toronto for this week is 0.6% lower than where average sold price was a year ago. And median price is 2.9% higher than where median price was a year ago. If we look at Central Toronto, well, average sold price has shot way up to 2,706,000. It's still lower than some of the higher numbers we've seen that were very close to 3 million, or actually at 3 million. But months of inventory in Central Toronto is 3.2 months of inventory. Big difference between East and West Toronto. The amount of property selling at list price or more in Central Toronto is 30%, so less than a third. But average sold price is still way up from what it was a year ago. It's 19% average sold price, and median price is 21% higher than what it was a year ago. If we look at East Toronto, pretty much on par to where average sold price was a week ago or a week before that. It's now sitting at 1,326,000. Months of inventory came up slightly from the previous week. It's now at 1.4 months of inventory. 48% of the property, so close to half of the properties being bought and sold in East Toronto are selling at list price or more. Big difference from the other areas. When we see it kind of side by side, you can see the difference here. Sales, most of the sales, or the highest amount of sales at 69 happened in East Toronto. The lowest average sold prices in East Toronto, the lowest median price at 1,160,000 is in East Toronto. The most properties being sold at list price or more is in East Toronto, from 33% in the West, 30% in Central, and 48% in the East. And months of inventory, West is 1.7, Central is 3.2, and East Toronto it's 1.4. So 1.4 kind of makes sense as far as the overall picture. If the most sales and the highest percentage selling at list price or more, well, East Toronto would have the lowest months of inventory. Let's take a close look at semis. 52 semi-detached properties were sold for week ending June 22nd. 12 of those are at $1.5 million or more. Average sold price came way down from the previous week. It's now sitting at $1,270,000, which is 2% higher than where average sold price was a year ago. And median price is 4% higher than where median price was a year ago. Now, in the previous 3 months, median price has gone from 1.4 and a half or high 1.3 to now sitting at 1,208,000. So big difference there in median price. Months of inventory did come down from the previous week, but it's still way up from the 0.5 or 0.3 that we used to be. Months of inventory is now sitting at 1.6 months of inventory, and 58% of semis sold at list price or more. Looking at townhouses, now a lot of, I didn't even want to put this chart up, to be honest, but a lot of you are asking me for townhouses, and I'll tell you why I didn't want to put these up, because I can't really put a lot of validity into these numbers as far as average numbers go. Only 10 freehold townhouses were sold in all the city of Toronto. When it's that low, and even the previous week, it was only 20 that were sold. When the numbers are that low, it's really hard to get an accurate average. It's already difficult to feel good about the numbers when there's 30, 40, 50 being sold. But when there's only 10, I mean, this is what you're going to get. Average sold price kind of gives the impression it's shot way up. But if you're really interested in the townhouse, what they're going for, you really kind of got to look at your neighborhood, because there's not that many being sold. Average sold price is at this rate is 3% higher than what it was a year ago. Median price is 14% higher than what it was a year ago. But again, there's so few sales in townhouses. Now, months of inventory shot way up because there was only 10 that were being sold. And if next week we sell 15 or 20, then months of inventory is going to come way down. Let's look at condos. So we have more accurate numbers here. 242 condos were sold across the city of Toronto. 29 of those were at $1 million or more. Average sold price went up by $3,000. It's now sitting at $758,000 for your average condo being bought and sold across the city of Toronto for last week. $758,000. Our peak was around $8.5. So we've come down since the peak in February by about $100,000. $758,000 is 4% higher than what the average price was a year ago. And the median price is 7% higher than where the median price was a year ago. $686,000 is the median price. And we said average sold price has come down about $100,000 or so. Well, median price just over the last 3 months has come down from $750,000. It's now sitting at $686,000. Year-to-date sales, we've sold 25% fewer condos this year, year-to-date, than what we were selling last year. And of the 242 that sold, 34% sold at list price or more. Just a few months ago, we were in the 70s and 80% selling at list price or more. It's now 34%. Big difference in the market. The blue, that's last year's sales. The orange is this year. There's a huge gap between this year and last year's sales. Listings are pretty much on par to what we were listing last year. You can see the difference in the blue and the orange. We listed 763 condos. So sales are way down. Listings are the same. Inventory is going to be picking up. We've got active listings now for condos over 3,000, almost 3,100 active condo listings at the end of the end of June 22nd. And year to date, we have 2%. That's it. Just 2% fewer listings this year to date, than last year. And months of inventory is now sitting at 2.9 months of inventory. Here's a quick summary of all the months of inventory. In most cases, months of inventory is getting higher or staying the same, but overall it's way higher than what it's been just a few months ago. We're getting very close to some of these being more in a balanced market type of environment. Now, I know lots of people throwing around the word buyer's market. We're not quite in a buyer's market. We're approaching a balanced market, but it's going to feel like a buyer's market because prices have been so high and the intensity to buy has been so strong. Any kind of taking your foot off the gas, so to speak, is going to feel like a completely different. But, you know, if we were to really look at it, we're approaching a balanced market. And at some point, I don't know if it's in the next 2 or 3 months or the next year. Nobody knows. I know lots of people think they know, but nobody knows. But we do expect things to kind of calm down before something else happens. Thanks for watching. Hope you have an awesome day. Talk to you soon. Here's your chance to live in the heart of the Kingsway. Welcome to Kingsway by the River Condos. It's a newly built building. This is a 1-bedroom with a den, a large den. This is a corner unit, and it comes with this massive wraparound balcony. Let me show it to you.